discovery is the heart of science. Sean is really not a scientist here. He's really, it sounds more like he's uh, a priest of naturalism, a priest of physicalism, clothed in the pseudo garments of a scientist, and he's using the language of science, but really in service of his God, which is physicalism, his unquestionable deity, which is physicalism. And the mere fact that Sean is saying that physicalism, though it can't account for everything, though it hasn't yet offered um, a comprehensive view of all things, least of which human understanding and human consciousness, physicalism can't be questioned, and physicalism as a presupposition can't be modified. And really, it's the posture of somebody who has arrived and who knows, thinks they know everything, that he's offering us.
Well, I use the analogy, it's like saying, I can't find my car keys. I should buy a new car. That's not the right strategy to use in this situation. You have to be a little bit more patient than that.
So that's really more rhetoric from Sean. Nobody in at least a Christian camp is saying, because we can't explain human consciousness by science, we should throw science out. Nobody's saying that. Really, a better analogy would be to say, um, because we can't find our car keys, we should get a more comprehensive means by which to keep account of our car keys. It's not to say that we should throw out our car because we can't find our car keys. What we're saying is we need to have a more comprehensive view than just physicalism that accounts for the physical phenomena of science and accounts for things like human experience, like murder, getting married, graduating college, if that's actually a positive experience. Just kidding. Getting a new job, having a child, that we can't find those things with physicalism. So therefore, we shouldn't throw out, we shouldn't throw something out. We should get something else to supplement the truth that physicalism would offer, which is the truth of subatomic particles and forces and atoms and neutrinos and quarks and everything. Take those truths, but those things aren't themselves the irreducible singularity, that there's something more comprehensive. And to that we would just offer the Christian worldview. And so that's just again another kind of uh turn of the wrist kind of flourish by Sean rhetorically that really is, it lacks substance.
Yeah, I suppose for the person who thinks that consciousness is inexplicable on physicalism, it's more like, yeah, I don't understand how a car could even possibly exist in the universe as I understand it. And people sort of view consciousness that way. And I think commonly people will say, and there are more and less sophisticated versions of this, but they'll say, look, consciousness is just something science will explain. Like it's no surprise. It's super complicated and we haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
But there are philosophers of mind who don't just want to say science hasn't explained consciousness yet, but that it in principle cannot do so. It seems to occupy a different kind of space. Thomas Nagel is the sort of famous name here that I think most succinctly puts this case in What Is It Like to Be a Bat? And one useful way of getting at this is with a famous thought experiment that I've heard you speak about before, but I had a question about your interpretation or response to this. Famously, Mary's room. I talk about this all the time on the show. Uh, and most people are familiar, Mary is in a room, it's totally black and white. She experiences no color for all of her life, but she is given every single piece of information that could possibly be written down onto a piece of paper and understood and like comprehended by her. She's given that and she becomes an expert. She learns about the wavelengths of light. She learns about the biology of the eye and the brain chemistry and all of that kind of stuff.
Okay, so before we get too far down the road, Alex is kind of gently pushing back. And this is again evidence just how Alex is very graceful and how he comports himself. And he's very I appreciate how he comports himself, even though we disagree. And I think we're also seeing how someone like Sean is kind of inhabiting an older species of atheism that's really inadequate. I mean, all forms of atheism are inadequate ultimately, but for the current day, a lot of younger thinkers are really starting to see that the older, kind of stale versions of atheism, like those of a Sam Harris or Richard Dawkins, and I would assume here Sean Carroll, they're really just they're just blanketly clearly insufficient. And Alex is kind of in a new cutting edge version of atheism, that he's really forwarding something like panpsychism or emotivism, which we'll talk about at some point. But and that's because the younger atheists, I think, are seeing really the huge blind spots of someone like Sean, and they're trying to continue to think more and further down the line and deeper, and they're trying to offer deeper, more rigorous explanations.